Welcome back to The Geek Show. My name is Alex, and today we are diving into why Abby Anderson might just be one of the most complex characters in The Last of Us Part 2. Did you know she wasn't always the hardened warrior we meet in the game? Her story is rooted in personal loss, vengeance, and ultimately redemption. But first up, let's break down Abby's origin and what set her on this brutal path. Then I'm going to tell you something interesting that might change the way you see her, especially when it comes to her journey with Lev and how that sort of gave her a whole new sense of purpose. So who exactly is Abby Anderson, the fierce warrior once broken by loss, but better known to fans as the dual protagonist of The Last of Us Part 2, who sort of got the moment that changed everything? Let's break down who Abby Anderson is and how her story kicks off in The Last of Us Part 2. Abby was born during the cordyceps outbreak, sometime between 2014 and 2018. Her dad, Jerry Anderson, was the lead surgeon for the Fireflies, the group trying to create a vaccine. He raised Abby in Salt Lake City while working on that cure, and they shared a pretty close bond. One day, Abby finds her dad at an abandoned zoo checking out this pregnant zebra. In a quiet, emotional moment, they help free the zebra together, and you really see how much Jerry cared, even in a broken world. That same day, news comes in. The Fireflies, they've found Ellie, and Jerry is asked to perform the surgery that could lead to a cure, but it would cost Ellie her life. Abby supports her dad. She's saying that if she were Ellie, she'd be willing to give up her life too to save others, but then everything falls apart. Joel Miller, trying to protect Ellie, he fights his way through the hospital and he kills Jerry. Abby arrives too late and she finds her dad dead on the floor, and it's a moment that just shatters her world. With Jerry and Marlene gone, the Fireflies, they fall apart. Abby and her friends, they head to Seattle and join the Washington Liberation Front, and soon they're known as the Salt Lake Crew. And that's where Abby's journey of survival, revenge, and rediscovery, it really begins. Abby and Owen's aquarium adventure, it's like a break from the war. Not long after joining the WLF, Abby and Owen, they take a little break from their usual patrol duties and they sneak off to the old Ferris wheel near Seattle's marina. It starts off playful, they climb into like a gondola and Owen starts rocking it back and forth. Abby is terrified of height and she's not loving it. She makes a few excuses to avoid looking down, but Owen keeps teasing her, clearly enjoying the moment. Then out of nowhere, Owen steps to the edge, tells Abby he's always loved her, and jumps. Abby panics. She thinks he might be seriously hurt or worse, and when he doesn't come back up right away, she dives into the water after him. And it turns out Owen's totally fine, and he says he found something amazing. That something, it ends up to be an old, mostly intact aquarium hidden below the surface. The two explore it together, and it feels like a really rare, peaceful escape from the world they're usually stuck in. They find a small theatre for fish, a docked sailboat, and signs that a family once lived inside, drawings, letters, even old supplies. Eventually they discover the body of the father, still holding a letter, and it reveals that his children had run off to join the Seraphites, leaving him behind. It's a quiet, very heartbreaking discovery in the middle of what started as a light-hearted trip. Before leaving, Owen finds the keys to the place, and they end up in an underwater observation dome, still full of sea life. It's beautiful and it's peaceful, and in that moment they share a kiss, but it doesn't go any further. Abby pulls back and opens up. She's still haunted by Joel, still obsessed with finding him. She asks Owen to head back with her to make it in time for training, but he decides to stay and explore the aquarium a little longer. Abby leaves alone, carrying her unresolved feelings with her. We've then got this return that she makes to the aquarium, and she makes a choice that kind of changes everything. Years after discovering the aquarium, Abby returns and she finds Owen living there. He's turned into a hideout, complete with lights and decorations. They reconnect, and it's clear things have changed. They've broken up, and Owen is now with Mel, one of their old Firefly friends. They share some laughs, they play a toy archery game, and they drink Owen's homemade moonshine. Eventually, Abby reveals why she's there. She's got a lead on Joel. She's heard Tommy, Joel's brother, is living near Jackson, Wyoming, and she wants to follow the lead and make things right, or at least finish what she started. Owen's unsure, but when Abby says Isaac approved the mission and their old friends are in, he agrees to go. By March, Abby and her crew, they're camped in a lodge near Jackson. One morning, Owen shows up, the town from a mountain overlook. It's huge, it's well defended. Owen doubts they'll get close, and to make things more complicated, he tells Abby that Mel is pregnant. They argue, and Owen heads back, but Abby, she pushes on alone. She tracks a patrol through the snow, but she gets caught in a horde of infected. Just as things turn bad, she's saved by Joel and Tommy. They don't recognize her. The three of them fight their way back to the lodge for shelter. Once there, Abby's group turns on them. Joel introduces himself, and that's all Abby needs. She shoots him in the leg and reveals who she is without saying it, just by looking him in the eye. She beats him with a golf club, ignoring Ellie's desperate screams when she arrives too late to stop it. Owen convinces the group to spare Ellie and Tommy, and they leave before Jackson's people can catch her. Abby finally gets her revenge, but it marks the beginning of a whole new conflict. Abby is now at war. Weeks after Joel's death, Abby is still having nightmares about her father. One morning, she's woken up by Manny, who tells her they've been reassigned assigned to the forward operating base. Direct orders from Isaac, the WLF leader. They pass through the stadium, which serves as the WLF's main base. Manny checks in with his dad while Abby chats with Jordan, who's frustrated that their forces seem to be losing ground to the Seraphites. It's a rival faction. Abby tries to stay optimistic, believing there's a bigger strategy at play. At breakfast, Manny skips the line and grabs an extra burrito, revealing that Mel will be joining them on the trip to the front. Abby's not thrilled. Things between her and Mel, they've been tense since Jackson, and now Mel's clearly pregnant. They still head out together, picking up their loyal dog, Alice, and then hitting the road. Before leaving, Abby and Manny, they stop by the firing range just for a bit of light competition. Loser has to clean their room for a week. From there, they load up the truck. Manny gives the front seat to Alice, leaving Abby and Mel to ride in the back, where conversation, it quickly turns, well, awkward. They talk about Mel's pregnancy and Owen, who's been distant lately. Things take a sharp turn when their convoy is ambushed by Seraphites. Their truck crashes near a hardware store, and the group is forced to fight their way through nearby buildings and a boat shop. Eventually, they're pinned down in a gas station until backup arrives just in time to save them. At the FOB, they learn Mel was injured and is taken for treatment. Abby and Manny check in with Nora at the medical tent, who reveals shocking news. Danny, Owen's patrol partner, is dead, and Owen is missing. Still shaken, Abby and Manny, they report to Isaac. On the way, they pass holding cells filled with captured Seraphites. Some have been clearly tortured. They find Isaac mid-interrogation, and after he wraps up, he pulls them aside. Isaac tells them he's preparing for a full-scale attack on the Seraphite island, and he wants Abby and Manny to help them lead the charge. When Abby asks to bring Owen on her team, Isaac drops a bomb. Owen might have killed Danny to protect a Seraphite. He refuses to send a search party, and he shuts down Abby's requests to go and find him. The orders are clear. The mission moves forward, but for Abby, everything is suddenly in question. You've got the rescue, the reunion, and then suddenly a change of heart. She's still haunted by nightmares and worried about Owen. She disobeys orders, and she sneaks out of base with help from Manny. They head through Seattle, but it's captured by Seraphites and knocked unconscious. She wakes up strung by the neck, about to be ritually executed by a Seraphite named Emily, and then things just get deadly. They drag in Yara, a young Seraphite outcast. When she refuses to talk, they crush her arm, and that's when Lev, Yara's brother, ambushes them with a bow. In the chaos, Abby holds Emily down with her legs, and Yara kills her with a hammer, but Abby knocks the bucket away and starts to suffocate. Lev cuts her down just in time. Though they're from opposing sides, Abby helps Lev and Yara fight off infected and escape. Along the way, she's attacked again, and she loses her gear, but manages to recover it and push through. After a tough solo fight, she reunites with Lev, and the three find temporary shelter in an abandoned trailer. Abby treats Yara's injury and tells them to leave by morning, and then continues on alone to the aquarium. The journey's rough. She falls into the water, fights through a grounded ship full of infected, and finally reaches the aquarium by climbing back up to the highway and sneaking in through the roof. Inside, she finds Owen. He's drunk and he's hiding out. He admits he didn't mean to kill Danny. It happened during a standoff when he refused to shoot an old Seraphite. Owen's done with fighting, and he wants to go to Santa Barbara to find the Fireflies. Abby doesn't believe in the lead, and they argue. He hits a nerve, asking if she's proud of what she did to Joel. The tension, it turns physical, and then they end up sleeping together. That night, Abby has another nightmare. This time, she sees Lev and Yara where her father once was, dead and abandoned. She wakes up shaken, realizing she's become someone she doesn't want to be. She leaves the aquarium quietly to go back for the kids. She tries to save Yara. So we've got Abby and Lev's journey into the heights. Abby returns to the shipping yard, and she finds Seraphites searching for Lev and Yara. After fighting her way through, she reaches the trailer. Lev warns her off at first, but lets her in once he recognizes her. And Yara's condition has worsened. Her arm is badly infected, and she's fading fast. Abby brings them back to the aquarium. Mel examines Yara and says the arm has to be amputated, but they don't have the tools. Abby volunteers to go to the hospital, but the trip would take too long. Until Lev offers a shortcut only the Seraphites know. It could cut the trip down to 2 hours, but Abby agrees, and they set out. Their route takes them through shops, apartments, and eventually to a massive skyscraper. Lev is agile and calm with heights, whereas Abby, unlike Abby, and he helps her navigate the path. Along the way, they go closer. Lev hints that he's been hunted by his own people for shaving his head, and Abby respects his silence. They fight off Seraphites and infected together, and Abby begins to understand Lev's strength and his resilience. As they climb higher, Abby battles her fear of heights. They ride an elevator up, and Lev calms her down with a quote, the Seraphite prophet, "Only when weak may I find my true strength." They cross terrifying series of narrow sky bridges, and Abby nearly panics, but Lev helps her through until she slips, and they both fall through a glass roof into a pool. Miraculously, they survive. Now, in a half-destroyed hotel, they work their way down. The building is full of spores and infected. Lev doesn't have a gas mask, so Abby searches alone, fighting off stalkers, and finds one for him, and together they press through more infected, using a fire hose to descend deeper into the ruins. Abby finds a flame flamethrower and uses it to push through a final gauntlet of clickers and a bloater. Finally, they make it to the ground floor. Lev points out the elevator they would have taken if they hadn't fallen, and Abby rolls her eyes like in a typical moment. They've made it through hell, and now it's time to get those supplies. Abby and Lev arrive near the WLF-controlled Lake Hill Hospital. Abby tells Lev to stay hidden. The WLF would kill him on sight. He reluctantly agrees, and Abby heads in alone, pretending she's on a mission for Isaac to get supplies. At first, the guards, they let her in, but they're suspicious when she won't give full details. One of them contacts Isaac. Soon after, Abby is detained and handcuffed. Isaac's confirmation is that she went AWOL. They lock her in an elevator until they can send her back. Luckily, Nora shows up. She's surprised to see Abby in trouble, but she does help her out. Abby tells her that she needs medical supplies for Yara. Nora warns that most of it's already been moved, but there may still be something left in the sealed lower floors. The areas from the early days of the outbreak, overrun with fungus and long abandoned, it's incredibly dangerous. But Abby doesn't hesitate. She descends into the hospital basement. She searches through ruined medical wings, massive fungal growths, and darkened hallways. The only areas with real surgical supplies, the trauma center and the ICU, are locked behind airlocks and power doors. She finds a generator, gets the power back on, also frees trapped infected. She fights her way through them, only to find the trauma center torn open and something massive has already come through. Following blood and destruction, Abby finds an ambulance with supplies that she needs. But the moment she grabs them, she's attacked by the Rat King, this massive, grotesque creature made of fused infected, part bloater, part stalker, just part nightmare. It chases her through the hospital, smashing walls and tearing down everything in its path. During the fight, the creature, it splits apart. Abby takes down the bloater heart, but the stalker breaks off and flees. With no other way out, Abby follows it and is attacked again in the air ducts. She kills it, just barely escaping with her life. Outside, Abby is immediately tackled, but it's Lev. He warns her that the WLF is searching for her. They spot a boat and they escape together, speeding back toward the aquarium and Yara. Back at the aquarium, Abby and Lev, they wait while Mel operates on Yara. Owen soon joins them with good news. The surgery was a success. Abby checks in on Yara, who smiles in gratitude. It's a really rare moment. That night, Abby dreams again, but this time her father is alive. He's smiling. The nightmare is gone. The first time, she feels hope. The next morning, she overhears Lev and Yara arguing. Lev wants to return to the island for their mother. Mel walks in and she tells Abby that Owen has invited the siblings to join him in Santa Barbara and that she's going too, but Mel makes it clear that Abby is not welcome. She calls Abby out for her past, saying saving two kids doesn't undo years of violence. She accuses Abby of trying to come between her, and Abby tries to defend herself, but Mel cuts her off and storms out. Abby's left absolutely devastated. Yara comforts Abby and they talk. Lev ran off after the argument, still determined to help their mother. Yara explains the risks. The Seraphites might punish their mother for their actions, or worse, their mother may turn on Lev if he returns. As they search for the aquarium for Lev, Yara shares more about his past, about his transition, and how she once told him to hide who he was. She regrets it deeply, and Abby listens, and Yara tells her that despite what Mel said, she believes Abby is a good person, but Abby's not sure. And Yara says, I know enough. Just then, Owen shows up and he asks Abby if she'll go to Santa Barbara, and she says she can't, not with everything going on. Owen says they can still find happiness, but before they can talk more, Yara screams. They find that Lev has taken the stolen boat and gone back to the island alone. Abby is now fully committed to protecting him, and she decides to follow. The sailboat isn't ready, so she and Yara, they head to the marina to find another one. Owen offers to come, but Abby tells him to stay, to protect Mel and finish the boat. Abby and Lev, they head toward the marina to find a boat, and they're interrupted by sniper fire. Abby tells Lev to stay behind for safety and move forward alone. She's saved by Manny, who tackles her behind cover. Now, Manny explains his squad was supposed to prep boats for a raid on the Seraphite Island, but a sniper killed everyone except him. Abby agrees to help take down the sniper if she can get a boat. They sneak through abandoned cars, but they're ambushed by infected, forcing them to fight their way to the marina. After a chase, they corner the sniper in a restaurant, but he shoots Manny in the head, killing him instantly. Devastated, Abby fights through the restaurant and confronts the sniper, who turns out to be Tommy Miller. Yara appears and she stabs Tommy, and then Abby throws him into the water. The two take the boat and they head to the island. Once on the island, Yara leads Abby to their home village. They talk about Isaac's plans for the raid and for Abby's reasons for helping the siblings. Midway, the WLF arrives and the Seraphites respond with an alarm. Abby and Yara, they fight through a logging mill to reach Lev's house, and when they get inside, they find Lev's mother dead. With Lev hiding, clearly traumatized, Lev admits he accidentally killed her while defending himself, and Yara reassures him. The trio plan to escape, but as they make their way through the woods, Yara is shot by a WLF soldier. Abby kills the soldier, and at this point, Lev is really distraught. The group decides to escape through Haven, the Seraphite capital, and they're confronted by Isaac and his squad. Isaac threatens Lev's life, and in this tense standoff, Isaac is shot in the back before being gunned down by WLF soldiers. Abby and Lev escape, but Lev is furious. He's blamed blaming Abby for his sister's death, Abby convinces him to keep moving, calling him her people now. They fight their way across the island, avoiding crossfire between the WLF and Seraphite. In a collapsing barn, Lev escapes safely, but Abby is trapped under the wreckage. As she struggles to get out, a brute attacks Lev and Abby fights it off in a brutal melee. With Lev's help, she defeats the brute and they finally make it to the boat. They row back to the aquarium, leaving the chaos behind, with Abby giving Lev her jacket to keep warm. Back at the aquarium, Abby and Lev, they find the door blocked, and when Abby breaks in, they discover that Alice is dead. As they search the building, they find a trail of blood leading to the bodies of Mel and Owen. Abby is overcome with grief, vomiting and sobbing over Owen's body. Lev finds a map and Abby realizes the killer has marked their hideout. Pinnacle Theatre. Enraged, Abby and Lev, they head there. Hours later, they sneak into the theatre and they uncover the killer's tracks, including stolen photos of the Salt Lake crew and radio transmissions. As they descend, yet again, they find Tommy Miller, who is talking to himself about a necklace he found. Abby confronts him, ordering him to kneel while Lev keeps an arrow trained on him. But before anything can happen, Jesse and Ellie burst in with guns drawn. Abby shoots Jesse in the face, killing him instantly, and threatens Tommy's life. Ellie surrenders, begging Abby to spare Tommy. Abby is still furious over the events in Jackson, and she prepares to shoot Ellie, but Tommy tries to wrestle the gun from Abby, only for Lev to shoot Tommy in the leg, and then Abby finishes him off with a shot to the head. Ellie seizes the opportunity to escape deeper into the theatre, and Abby gives chase, telling Lev to corner the exits. They end up backstage where Abby and Ellie, they fight in this brutal brawl, with Abby gaining the upper hand, breaking Ellie's nose and then her arm. Just as Abby prepares to finish Ellie, Dina charges in with a knife, knocking her way through and wounding her. Lev shoots Dina with an arrow, allowing Abby to knock her unconscious. Seeing Dina is pregnant, explaining that Dina is pregnant, Ellie begs Abby to stop. In a moment of clarity, Abby hesitates and then drops her knife and walks over to Ellie. She warns Ellie never to cross her path again and leaves the theatre with Lev, the weight of her choices still heavy on her shoulders. After that confrontation in the theatre, Abby and Lev, they take Owen's sailboat and they head to Santa Barbara, searching for the Fireflies. They trade some supplies for a lead, which leads them to the address in Constance. It's a street that's filled with infected and signs of a gang called the Rattlers. After a tense search, they find the right house and they discover a hidden staircase leading to a basement barracks. In the basement, Abby powers up the house to use the radio equipment. She contacts the Fireflies and learns they're regrouping at Catalina Island with 200 members. Abby and Lev are overjoyed, but their excitement is short-lived and they are ambushed by Rattlers. Lev is knocked out and Abby is restrained, gagged and captured. The Rattlers, they enslave them for months. Despite their captivity, Abby and Lev, they remain defiant. Eventually they try to escape, but they're caught again, tied to wooden pillars on the beach to starve. Just as hope seems lost, Ellie finds and frees them. Abby releases Lev, who is weak but alive, and they make their way to a boat. Before they can leave, Ellie demands Abby fights her. Abby refuses, but Ellie threatens Lev at knife point, forcing Abby to defend herself. The two women, they engage in a brutal, exhausted fight, with Abby nearly overpowering Ellie at one point, but in the end, Ellie gains the upper hand, drowning Abby. At the last moment, Ellie has a flashback of Joel, and she spares Abby's life. She tells Abby to leave and take Lev with her. Abby and Lev escape, heading towards Catalina Island, leaving Ellie behind, the bitter end to their long and painful journey. But why does this matter in Abby's story, and why is it important for you to know before understanding her choices in The Last of Us Part 2? So with Abby's backstory out of the way, what does it mean for her character and her place? One of the most important things to consider here is her emotional conflict. After her father's death and the collapse of the Fireflies, Abby became this stoic and driven soldier, focused solely on revenge. The intense pursuit of her personal goal turned her into a leader with the WLF, but it also stripped her of the compassion she once had, making her serious, cold, and disconnected from her friends, particularly Owen and Mel. Looking at Abby's journey, it's clear that she's a deeply conflicted character. Her actions, such as torturing and killing Seraphites because of her own warped moral views, show how she's gone in justifying her mission. Yet, despite her harsh exterior, moments of guilt and self-reflection show that there's still humanity inside her. Abby's growing relationship with Lev is a key turning point, and it helps her regain some compassion and a sense of moral clarity, especially when she refrains from killing Dina after learning that she's pregnant. In terms of her development, it seems like Abby's arc will be defined by how she reconciles from her past actions and her new sense of purpose. Her shift from cold vengeance to someone who fights only to protect Lev will likely be what separates her from her early, more vengeful self. However, as Abby grows, what we see is that she's still struggling with that contrast between her old vengeful self and her more empathetic person she's trying to become. So much like the shift in tone for the entire game, Abby's personal journey, it represents the move from a world of vengeance violence and anger to one of understanding, growth and redemption, something her relationship with Lev and her actions towards Ellie and Dina reflect. It's this psychological shift that shapes Abby's ultimate path toward healing. She's got such an impact on The Last of Us series and obviously this season of The Last of Us with HBO. Despite her being a complex and often divisive character, her journey plays this pivotal role in the game's narrative. Much like The Last of Us HBO show, it's going to explore her transformation. Her story serves as this emotional backbone for the series, providing depth and complexity to the world created by Neil Druckmann. Abby's character arc, her shift from revenge-fueled vengeance to one of redemption and even compassion, will likely have a massive impact on how viewers understand the broader narrative in both the game and the show. We can expect Abby's character to be explored further, showing how her personal growth impacts those around her and how her actions intertwine with Ellie's journey. While she may not be as universally loved as other characters in the game, her role is undeniable. She represents themes of loss, vengeance, and ultimately forgiveness. Her character will likely serve, we know, as a key character or as a key figure in the adaptation, showcasing not just the darkness within her, but the potential for redemption, much like the deep emotional complexities of the original game. But here's a question to consider. Can true redemption be achieved through personal sacrifice, or is it always defined by the forgiveness of others? Abby's journey, it challenges the idea of forgiveness and redemption, forcing us to ask whether her ability to forgive herself is enough for her to truly change, or if others need to accept her in order for her to find peace. Just as The Last of Us Part 2 shaped the gaming world, Abby's presence in the show promises to bring fresh dynamics to the TV adaptation, ensuring her journey will continue to resonate with both old and new fans alike. Her training with the Fireflies and the WLF, it shaped her into this elite soldier with impressive strength and combat skills. Her muscular build, it allows her to perform feats like crushing skulls, breaking bones, and taking on multiple opponents at once. She's a master at hand-to-hand combat and has even defeated larger enemies, such as tackling a sledgehammer-wielding Seraphite. Her most notable feat was taking on several stalkers in the Seattle forest to protect Lev and Yara, showing her ability to fight and win against fast, powerful infected. Abby also easily overpowered soldiers from the WLF and even managed to defeat Ellie in brutal melee fights despite being stabbed. She excels in stealth, sneaking up on enemies like Ellie, who was armed with a shotgun and traps. She can also navigate tough environments and dodge sniper fire, as we've seen when she and Manny avoided Tommy's shot. Her fighting style is versatile, and she's proficient with multiple weapons, making her a trusted leader for the WLF's assault on the Seraphite Island. Abby can even perform deadly chokeholds, similar to Joel, and has lightning-fast reflexes. She once shot Jesse in the head before he could react. One of the most impressive moments came when she defeated the Rat King. This, like I mentioned, this massive, deadly infected creature single-handedly in the Seattle hospital basement. But she's not invincible. She can still be overwhelmed by multiple enemies, all those stronger than her, and she needed help in moments like her fight with Dina or when she was nearly choked by a Seraphite brood. Her time as a Rattler prisoner, it weakened her physically, but even then, she still fought fiercely against Ellie. Ultimately, Ellie spared her life after such a brutal battle. She's tall, she's in her early 20s by the time we meet her, with this dark blonde hair, blue eyes, pale, freckled skin. She kept her hair in this typical of her character fishtail braid for most of her youth and adult life, and while she had a normal build as a Firefly, her drive for revenge, it transformed her into this muscular and imposing figure, making her easily identifiable to others. After her second encounter with Ellie, Abby is left with noticeable scars on her face and ears inflicted by Dina. Abby's appearance, it drastically changes after being captured by the Rattlers. After months of grueling labor, she loses much of her muscle mass, her hair has been chopped messily, and she suffers severe sunburns, showing how harsh her captivity was. Her face was molded by Jocelyn Mettler, a visual effects artist who worked at Naughty Dog, adding this unique personal touch to her character design. She also suffers from acrophobia, a fear of heights, which causes her vertigo. When playing as Abby in high places, the camera pans out and it reflects her distress when she looks down. Interestingly, early in development, Neil Druckmann and Hallie Gross, they originally planned Ellie to kill Abby in their final encounter, but this was changed in favor of Abby's more complex and redemptive arc. It's safe to say that Abby stands out as one of the most complex and polarizing characters of The Last of Us Part 2, with her journey of vengeance, redemption, and growth making her a pivotal figure in narrative. From this hardened, revenge-driven soldier to a compassionate protector, Abby's transformation, it challenges our perceptions of morality, survival, and the cost of revenge. With her presence in the upcoming HBO show, we can look forward to seeing more of Abby's evolution and how her story continues to resonate with both new and long-time fans of the series. A question for us to consider is, can true redemption be achieved by the person who wronged you, or is it more about finding peace with the past and moving forward? What's your favourite moment of Abby's story in The Last of Us, and what are you looking forward to the most in the HBO portrayal? If you have thoughts, let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more deep dives. Stay tuned and see you next time.